I'm dialing in from Sydney, Australia. I am really, really blessed and honoured to bring on Robyn, who I've actually connected with socials and talking about homeschooling. I'm pretty sure that's how we kind of cross paths, and I'm just incredibly blessed to bring her on today to really share some real and raw stories about how women have really dived into this business opportunity. And it's like all walks of life. Like literally, we just have so many incredible success stories of how people have started in this business. And I just wanted to hand over to you, Robyn, and just to introduce yourself and just tell everyone who you are and how you actually came across this opportunity yourself.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. I think one of my greatest joys is connecting with other women and seeing other women rise. And I firsthand know that life doesn't always turn out how we thought it would, how we imagined it would, and what do we do at those crossroads? And that's really been my journey for some time now. I'm obviously a New Zealander, and I came over here, I think, nearly 16 years ago. And the plan was to build a home in rural Victoria, and yeah, everything that I thought would be didn't end up to be. And I went through a cancer journey. I was a homeschooling mum of 7 children, and unfortunately my marriage ended after nearly 32 years of marriage. And what do we do? And this is, probably, you've heard that saying of our mess becomes our message. And that is really my passion, because my biggest pain point was the financial side of it, when you had not been in the marketplace for so many decades. And my background was creative in clothing and textile design, and it really had evolved so much in that time that it was, my qualifications were irrelevant almost. And so what did I really want to do? Well, it was really a matter of surviving. But I know through my cancer journey, I realised that my life had mattered too, and that, like many of us women, we put the dreams, the lives of everybody else as priority. And there's no greater privilege than, caring and loving and prioritising others at times. But when it's at the detriment and sacrifice of our own health and wellness and emotional well-being, then problems happen, and your body gets to a point where it can't take any more, and it hits the wall, and you're forced to have a look at where you are. So it really led me on, crossroads of where I was going to go. And I actually ended up working in healthcare for a time. I started to study human behaviour. I wanted to learn more about me. My identity and purpose seemed to have, slipped away, and I wanted to really reclaim that. So I started out on my own personal development journey and ended up starting a coaching business, working full-time and part-time in healthcare, and getting back on that hamster wheel again. And I realised all the lessons I'd learned through going through cancer, what had happened to them. I had to do something. And how when you trust God, things happen. And I actually lost a couple of jobs in healthcare when COVID hit, which led me to really embracing this way of doing business, which I had already come across, and it just ticked all the boxes. I'm really a person that doesn't fit the mold. I'm really always committed to living my values, aligning with my values, and I don't really like to follow the rules.
You don't fit in the box.
No, I don't.
The black sheep kind of scenario,
Yeah, exactly. So I actually sold just about everything. I had this real whisper for about a year before to let go of everything that I thought I depended on to be happy. So it's just been a very much an internal journey as well, and found this business model and absolutely love this journey of really reclaiming our financial sovereignty, the security really, because this is what so many middle-aged women are facing. And I had firsthand of that. I actually was lining up for food vouchers, 9 years ago, when everything fell apart and I had no job, no access to funds, and you just find yourself in these unimaginable positions. And this is what so many in Australia and New Zealand is. Our age group is the biggest demographic of homelessness and poverty. And it's just not good enough for women that have given so much and are intelligent, but find themselves in these places that are really vulnerable and compromising. And this is where this business model, anybody can do if they have a big enough why, they're coachable, they're willing, and they're hungry to change their results.
And I think that's a really good point, because a lot of people can think, I mean, this is definitely not a network marketing area. It's so much more than that. Like, there's so much depth to this business that's really needs to be looked at to fully understand the opportunity and the possibilities that are here. But it's not the young 20-year-old. It's actually the diversity of this group. And I think you've hit the nail, is because I'm actually really passionate about. I've experienced some things in recent times that, you know, if I was a stay-at-home mum and something happens to my husband, what am I to do? So it's about really inspiring women to become financially empowered. I wouldn't say independent, but just empowered in a way that they've got this no matter what happens. And it's just that security and the depth of the community, that we're all going through similar things. And it was really beautiful. I was just on a training earlier with Steph, that everyone's going through something, you know.
Absolutely.
And seeing people succeed in this business, it doesn't mean that they're not going through something. And it's the stuff that happens behind the scenes that really hits me really, you know, on the heart, because I've gone down a similar journey. And when I found this business, I think it's God-led. Like, I honestly believe that this business comes to us at the times that, you know, it could be the darkest, or the times that we're reaching out and searching for something. And then these things come across and they seem to be, oh my God, I don't know if I could do that. I'm not good at this, you know, and you start to put all those fears and doubts in play. And this is where I want to just ask, I would just sort of probably assume that you probably had those fears and doubts going.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, you know, I'm very committed to not looking back, you know, to the past, but the only time I do is looking back to see how far I've come. And that is exactly right. And what I love is that we actually can progress, we can, you know, master, we can become competent one step at a time. And this is not an overnight, you know, get rich quick business, but it is a business that can set you up for the rest of your life. And if you put those few you know, those few years of committed energy, work and commitment, you know, it will benefit you and your life will not look the same. But I think, you know, we know some of the statistics, what they say 80% is our internal work. And well, like anything, you know, if we start to listen to those, you know, rogue thoughts in our mind and the stories that we create, and this is the power of, you know, collaborating and being within a network of people that actually lift you higher. And I know when I first started even my coaching journey, it was like I had to borrow belief from other people. Until I grew my wings, I often call it, my wings to start to fly. And so this is what it is. It's like, you've got to have that determination of saying, actually, I want something different to what I am settling for. And unfortunately, in the world we're living in, where everybody is like this, we actually don't even realize that we're living this life of quiet desperation. And one of my favorite quotes, which is actually not a really particular uplifting quote, but it really impacted me. And it's from a philosopher, Henry Thoreau, I think in the 1800s. And he says, if men and women are living a life of quiet desperation and they die with a song unsung,
Yeah.
And it was like that was my experience in healthcare. I used to have these little old ladies saying to me, "I left it too late, dear, don't you?" And it's like I've got them sitting on my shoulder. And I think, one of the defining crossroads is when I did receive that news that I had cancer. It was like realizing that life is so temporal. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And at that time, I would have had regrets. And so that really drives me, that I don't want to have regrets. I
Regrets.
want to know that I've squeezed as much goodness out of life, and that I'm living my God-given potential, and I don't even know the fullness of that. At times I think, "Oh, could I really do that?" But one of my habits, and I actually was part of a book that we wrote, empowering habits that entrepreneur women create. And mine was say yes and work out how,
Yeah.
that trusting your intuition, trusting that whisper and saying, I'm just going to take that step into uncertainty, and I don't know what's going to happen. And I can assure you, as we take those steps out of our comfort zone, we just grow our tolerance for more, and then we do it again and a little bit more, and before you've built up that resilience, you've built up confidence in mastering different skills. But you've just got to take that,
Yeah.
that pathway. That first step is often the hardest, Rachel.
I get it. I
Yeah,
mean, I just went all in. I was like, this is just, this, not that this has to work. I just knew that
yeah,
if I went in and said, if I said yes, I knew that the how is not up to me. Like
yeah,
the how will come, if my why is strong enough. And
yeah,
that's what's really beautiful about this space. It is all why led. It's your purpose led. It's passion
yeah,
led. So
yeah,
it has to come from the heart. We're not just here, um, you know, making transactions to
no,
build a business. This is actually very much a heart led space, that we're here to solve problems. We're here to help people, and it starts with ourselves. So, um,
absolutely.
yeah,
And
and
I
that's
think,
what you're saying. It's the inner work that you
yeah,
have to go through, and it's sometimes the most painful thing. But if you can get through that, you can get
yeah.
through anything.
Well, I think, any business is a vehicle, isn't it? It's a vehicle to a means to create something else. And what is that something else? And, for me, it's like we've all been given gifts and talents, even if you don't think you have, you have. And how can we use them to have more impact? And when you don't have to worry about just meeting your basic needs, that's where you can really step into more your mission or your passion, that those projects where you can be of more service to others, or you can be more available, more flexible. Time for so many people is, I believe, one of the greatest currencies in being a parent, with partners. The relationship breakdowns is just so sad, and I really believe often it is because people are under so much stress. They've got that rubber band that's so tight, there's just no room for any movement, and then it snaps and they think it's that's broken, but it's not. Actually, it's the system that's broken, and we actually get to change the system that we do business in. And yeah, I'm very much committed to do it with grace and flow. Any stress, it's like, uh-oh, I back right back. And you're not trying to convince anybody. This is something that, you want people to be curious and come and take a look, and then see if it aligns. And working with others that are aligned with your values and your passions, it's just really brings so much joy.
Yeah, I love that, because I often think like the two main things that people struggle with is in relationships, and anything that breaks down, it's money and time. And I
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
say, because I can see it, because then it's not so much the behaviors of that, it's actually those two things that they're
yeah,
struggling with, that then result in bad behaviors. They're misaligned, they're
exactly.
not living their values, because they're so much focused on not having enough of both, that this
Exactly.
business actually has the solution, that you can then have your time and money back, so you can
Mm,
focus on being in alignment, and then you're not going to be, living
mm.
to bad behaviors or habits or things,
Mm.
because you're just being able to step into joy,
Yeah.
and doing things that you're passionate about without worrying about the finances of it. You know that they're going to be supported.
I think many women in this era that we're living in are living from the masculine energy, and that's why they're burnt out, they're feeling that low-grade anxiety, they feel despair, they feel like they're not actually making it in any arena with their parenting, with their work. They have so many people that they're trying to please, and often that's where their health breaks down, they get depressed. And when women are really able to lead from their feminine energy, where they are able to lead from their heart, their intuition, and it's a very powerful way of existing. And it's not to say you don't work, because we put work in, and the more committed you are, the better results you're going to have. But it's done in that feminine way, without having to have all these bosses almost, and then
Yeah.
losing yourself along the way. And I know when I look back now, I now, in one of my fast track sales in my business, can earn as much as I would have taken. I think it was about 257 hours it would have taken me to have worked hard physical work in healthcare, caring for people, and that just blows me away.
Yeah, that's big. That's big.
Mm,
I,
mm,
I, I just think that and also the normalizing of, big amounts of income, which we're probably
yeah,
not used to receiving. Like, there's women that are stay-at-home mums in this business that are receiving 40K weeks, and I'm being completely honest that these stories are real. And I was like, oh, $10,000-$20,000 a month would be great.
mm,
But the possibilities are endless. So it just really depends on how big your mission is and how big your vision is.
yeah,
And you could only do an hour or two a day, and you
mm.
would make 20K a month easy.
And
And
that
that's,
grows, doesn't it?
yeah,
That vision and that expansion grows, because for most of us, to begin with, we just want to meet our needs, or maybe it might be to replace an income.
yeah,
Maybe it might be to ease some of the extra costs that are happening around in different, well, everywhere in the world. Prices are soaring, and people are finding things more of a stretch. So
yeah,
it starts there, but it's like as you grow, it's like you expand your vision of really what's possible, and seeing other people doing that are no different to you and I. They're not, they're not any more intelligent, beautiful, whatever it might be. It's just really, I used to hear this, and I thought, it actually was one of the reasons I was curious about it, to a friend, where you get paid for being you.
yes, I
And
love
I
it.
thought, what the world does that mean? And it's really like you show up in your authenticity and live your best life, share your heart, give value, and share what you're doing. And that, has a spin off as well, doesn't it?
That's it. No, it just reminded me what you said, something about working, so many hours. But it's like the return on investment. Like, just
Mm,
say you were going to work for a company, or you're doing something like checkout, whatever it may be. You're working in a job that's 9 to 5, 8 hours a day. That sort of thing. Your return on investment is not actually greater than the income that you get. Like,
yeah,
it just hit me then. It's like, well,
yeah.
if you do this business, it's actually that you're building yourself. So you're going to be better.
Mm,
You're going to have better relationships. You're going to have a better environment. You're going to have better things in your life. And on top of that, you're going to receive like incredible
mm,
amounts of wealth.
yeah. And, we all start at somewhere different, don't we? We can't
Yeah.
compare one person that's, maybe even years down the track from you. But I think, this is where it's really important in anything we do, just to almost keep those blinkers on, and stop having that
Yeah.
comparison to others. Because like for me, look, I hadn't had any work experience apart from, caring for people and for many, many years. And yet I just had a willingness to learn.
Yeah.
And that's really what what you need is curiosity. There are many people, though, that are highly successful, that have had really high-paid jobs, that are, you know, really fantastic careers, and yet they realise it's not allowing them the true freedom and autonomy that they desire in life. Because when you get to that point that finances aren't an issue, you think, well, what else is there in life? And
Yeah.
of course, we know through our own walk of faith that there's a lot bigger, more important
We're
things.
so
And yet,
narrow focused on
yeah,
just surviving.
that's right. And then when they make it financially, they think, well, what else is there? So that's when we can step into living a more meaningful and purposeful life, which, yeah, everybody really, if they had the choice, this is what we want. And that's where people really get to learn to thrive. And
Yeah.
I've been in survival, and, you know, just to be able to be and work in different expansive environments. I know I'm very a visual person, so my environment, I try to work outside as much as I can, and yeah, and just collaborate, catch up with people, and just really see where people's needs are and see how this may align. But yeah, I'm truly grateful, Rachel.
Yeah.
And then you get to meet lovely people like yourself, that you just come across each other and it just feels right. And we expand our network of people that are on the same journey of wanting to live our best life and no longer just buy into the narrative that the world gives us. Because I don't know about you, but I look around and I've got 7 children, and they're adults. Some of them have got families, and I just think the 3-bedroomed house, the car, the good job, the 3 kids, and you're doing life, you know, working for somebody else, is just not giving the fruits that maybe once it did. It's
Yeah.
actually a real challenge.
Yeah, and it's a real shame that if some people can't see that, but I think it's just really important to just keep an open mind
Yeah,
to what's
right.
possible, and just, and you know, um, I'd love to know how you actually came across this opportunity too, just so other people can really
Yeah, sure.
understand how that
Yeah.
would work for them.
Well, it was actually just through a friend of mine who was in the coaching industry, and all of a sudden, and she was also working full time. And then I saw on her socials that she'd given up her job and she was working from home. And I thought, oh, how did she do that? You know, what has she done? What's success with her coaching? So I reached out to her, and she shared with me what she was doing. And, you know, like for many coaches, we have a heart to help serve people, to help others get that transformation, to not let their doubts and fears, to really, you know, be all that they can be. And yet it's once again that continuous wheel of creating new programs, trying to get
Yeah.
clients, and there are a lot of coaches burnt out. And this is where there was a bit of a disconnect to start with, because I thought, oh, well, how can I do this? And then my coaching, which I really had a heart for. And then I realized that, oh, my biggest pain point was the financial side. So now being able to do this business, I get to coach and support and mentor other women that with their mindset, with empowering them to
Yeah.
create change. So that was as simple as that, really. It was just like divine timing.
I'm similar too. I've just gone through and studied NLP, and I did hypno.
Yeah,
I did all the things, and I was like, oh, you know, now it's like selling the 6-week breakthrough and doing this and putting this, and I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
I don't need to do all that. Like, I can do that for free.
exactly.
I can offer that to anyone that's on
Yeah,
this journey that wants to. Yeah, so it just changes the game for the coaching industry to really tap into this
yeah,
business model and the freedom blueprint, because it's got everything
yeah.
there,
Mm,
and you can just tap on top what, you know,
that's right.
skills or things you want to
Mm,
bring into the
mm.
onto the table and to
I
support.
think, yeah, I think one thing that we haven't talked about is the difference between, you know, when you are like direct selling or, you know, or digital marketing, that you have a high ticket product.
Yeah,
You know, over the many years when I was, you know, before I even actually had children, I dabbled in low ticket network marketing, and just the power of actually having a product. This is not network marketing, but it's, you know, when you have a line with an already proven product, then we can, you know, expect to be able to collapse time, but also when there's great profit in it, then we're not having to sell. And somebody I was listening to said, I would rather sell one product, say for $1,000, than, you know, 100 products for $10. And that's exactly where it is, because really you're doing the same amount of work. So these are all things to be thinking of when you are looking for a different opportunity. You know, what is the business model that you really want to find, and what's going to suit your I guess your bigger dreams, your vision, and where exactly you are right now with
And
your
it's
own.
it's gonna take you the same amount of time. And I learned something really recently from Brendan that just hit the nail. It's like, you know, buying all these little things every month and doing all the things, it's just not time efficient, and it's not what people are wanting. And you're not going to be solving their problem either by selling them $900 products. It's like you're not helping yourself, you're not helping them. Whether it's this technology, this high ticket opportunity is going to set them up. It's like their foundation for their health and their wealth, and then they can literally build on top of that. And it's just the one time that you have to do that, and then you set them up for life, and they lean in, and that's it. You know,
I think for me, you know, like I wasn't even interested in the product. It was like about the business model that I was really tuned in. But the icing on the cake was that it was something that really was so supportive with my health journey. And after having cancer, you know, my health and wellness is so important. And it's been 13 years now since I had breast cancer, and you know, it's not something that ever goes away. So I'm just truly grateful for vitality for life. And I'm not out on my pages promoting lots of products. This is just not the way we do it. And so yeah, I really, you know, just it works perfectly for what's important for me.
Yeah, and it's the lifestyle that you're ultimately after. It's the freedom lifestyle. It's time with the people that you love, and being abundantly blessed in return for your efforts of service. And that's how simple it gets to be.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, we don't need to complicate it, do we?
Very, very simple. And I've tried to overcomplicate everything.
And if I can do it, you know, I'm 63 now, and I didn't start this till I think I was 60 actually, or just before I was 60. So yeah, there you go.
You've inspired me too, because my mum had a brain injury a few years back from an accident, and she's 66 this year, and it really did send me on to this spiral of searching and finding purpose and all that. So I feel blessed, and you know, I look at everything with an opportunity, and you know, hoping to go in with this with her as well, which is very inspiring.
Wonderful.
So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And just I'm on my own, you know, now it's been 10 years, and yet I never feel lonely, you know, and I think that's one thing that we sometimes underestimate is the power of community and just aligning with other beautiful women. My best friends are in this business now, and some of them were coaches, and I've travelled in all sorts of places around the world and gone to like retreats and all sorts of things, and we have had so much fun. And that's important.
I think it gets skeptical because it's like, how are they doing this? And then once you kind of like the infectiousness and the love, you kind of, once you lean in, you go, oh my God, it's actually amazing. Like if you just let go of ego, like you were saying earlier, like just like let it all go, take the coat off, and just
explore, isn't it, really, Rachel? Explore it. I mean, this is not just something that's been around for the latest fad. It's at 50 years and just, you know, won many awards. So, you know, the product, if you can think of the product's one thing, but we have this business model and we use this product as a vehicle to really be able to create the life that we deeply desire, to allow more freedom and choice. And in a world where it seems to be we're being squeezed in with choices and having to comply with this, you know, and that we get to be able to live with more autonomy and that sure is important to me.
Yeah, and you've got your own sales team. We don't have to do anything other than show up and be ourselves and really
Yeah.
just lean into building the best version of ourselves. And we have such a community and a team and
Mm.
systems that just do everything. All the things that I don't want to do. I want to spend time with my kids. I want to be
Yeah.
walking the dog and booking holidays and doing all
Yeah.
that stuff. So it gets to
Mm.
be a really beautiful lifestyle that ultimately will give you, vitality and health and
That's right.
wellness.
You know what? When I first started this journey of rebuilding or reclaiming my life, I know I did an exercise about what did I really want in my life, and it was like, apart from the basic, human needs, I thought I didn't even know. I had lost that. I guess that vision, and I've always been a visionary and a dreamer, and yet I had lost that. So, I really encourage you, if you're listening to this, to really pause, find some quiet time, and really get clear what it would be like to live your ideal day. What would you like to be eating? Where would you
Mm.
like to be going? How would you like to be interacting with your children? And where would you like to live? And it's not about like luxury, because I actually find as the older I get, it's nothing about the external now. It's about, the
Experiences.
internal world and
Yeah.
the experiences that we get to have and the people and the impact we make. But unless we have, some clarity, we're just like, a buoy in the sea being blown around in the storm. Whereas if we can put an anchor on it and start to really build from that foundation, we really can create something amazing, because we've got more of a purpose and a vision and a clarity about where we're going.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up too. I did an exercise about what would be the things that but this business would bring to me and what would it mean to
Mm,
me. And I was like, I did struggle with the first because I'm just thinking of the basics. I'm just
yeah,
thinking get the,
yeah,
make sure I can maintain the mortgage or, make sure my kid, the clothing or this. And it's like, no, no,
yeah.
no. It's like I could write a book, I can learn calligraphy, I can get back into piano, I can do the horse riding. I was
Exactly.
like, I started to get really excited. I was like, that's because
Yeah,
get rid of the money and the time. Like what would
absolutely.
you be doing right now?
Absolutely. Well, I'd love to be able to build all sorts of little wee housing pods for middle-aged women that are finding themselves at these unimaginable places, to give them safety and security, that they're not living on the street. There's so many 70-year-olds that are living in their cars, 70-year-old women that have served and given to communities and homes, and it's just not good enough. And our housing crises, domestic violence, divorce, disease, and depression is what ends up, overflowing and leaving women so vulnerable in our middle age. And yeah, I just think I want to use my experiences to be able to impact others, and that sort of thing is not a cheap fix, is it?
No, and I just want to be really vulnerable here. Like if I didn't have access to this business opportunity,
Mm,
I would literally be
yeah,
on the street. I've got an autistic child.
yeah,
I literally had to say, I've got to come up with, 2, 3 months mortgage repayments. I'm a stay-at-home mum, like
yeah,
so it's like how my son doesn't even want to leave the house. How would I do that, right? I might get some
exactly.
crisis payment. I might get something,
And not
for a week, but like
yeah,
what is the big picture here? Like, and
exactly.
I'm in a very blessed position. Like I'm not living, day by day, but I can see how easy it could happen.
Well, that's right. 3 months, of either lockdowns or things happening, and that they say that there's a lot of people that could not, survive after 3 months drawing on their savings.
Yeah,
So it's like really planning, having a
yeah,
bigger vision of how you can secure yourself. And yes, we trust in, God and all things, and yet we need to be wise in, our approach to life, and
yeah.
not be frivolous.
Privilege.
And
Yeah.
yeah, just be really thinking of how we can create these extra streams of income. And this has that passive side of it, which
Mm.
and we can leverage it, which is really, really powerful.
And
Yeah.
I like how I saw Kelsey did something with reverse engineering. So what is it you like? I think it's really just focusing on the basics to start with. Like what ideally is your number? What's your freedom number? Like, what would give you freedom in the next few months? And you work on that, and then that's like, 2 or 3 women or families that I can be of service to. So I'm going to go out and find the families that I can help, and that's the attitude, and then you can then help them help other people, and that's just really what it's about. So
it is.
And I love it. So
me too.
Thank you so much, Robyn.
It's been lovely to connect.
Yeah, we'll definitely be chatting more, and appreciate your time, and enjoy your, is it house sitting that you do?
Yes, I am. I've been house sitting and traveling around since I left Victoria, and I'm exploring all these wonderful places and beautiful people I've met, amazing animals, and having the time of my life.
I love it. I love it. So beautiful. Well, enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. Talk soon.
Okay, bye.